Welcome to the TKS Business Case Study. Today, we're entering the minds and time of Starbucks 2015. So this is the most profitable coffee business in the world. We're talking 23,000 stores across 75 different countries. We're talking about revenue upwards of 20 billion. And they're looking to do something very special in China.
So we're Kelly Smith, the VP of Digital for Starbucks China, and we're looking to execute a 70% growth rate without compromising the premium brand identity of Starbucks while maintaining operational flexibility and also keeping a really high quality of service.
So the TKS Business Case Study is a really awesome opportunity for the students to really dive into real world problems. And they're not just observing it, right? They're putting their minds in the bodies of CEOs and consultants, and the energy is palpable. You're getting kids who are super engaged, studying topics and concepts that are incredibly complex. What are some things we need to consider about the landscape, the economy, the culture, even just business? What are some things that we should be talking about?
China culturally is also more akin to drinking tea and not coffee. So having a full coffee business would be very difficult because they're not really going to be culturally attuned to that. So you have to kind of change the cultural landscape.
Let's talk about the niche of coffee versus tea. So what is Starbucks selling itself as? Is it just like a coffee store? What is it? What are they trying to sell, Drishti?
They're trying to sell themselves as a premium brand and keep this level of premium tea. And if they expand to too many places, it's kind of hard to talk about why the prices are so high.
Okay, so we have this experiential angle from a strategic standpoint to actually tackle on too. How do we bring this Western, I don't want to call it niche, but almost like bucket list experience for this Chinese market? What am I getting with a company-owned store versus a licensed store?
A company-owned store is just owned by a company, and a licensed store is like a franchise.
Why is it faster to open up a licensed store? Why is it cheaper to open up a licensed store?
I believe that's because a licensed store means that someone else would be the manager and they would own the store, and they're only buying the licensing rights. So that since it's an individual type of business, they would possibly get grants too, and they might also get they have that speed because they're only focusing on one store, whereas a company-owned store would mean that they have to focus on multiple stores at once, making the entire process slower and more expensive for the company.
They're arguing about why their decision is the best approach. They're arguing why their strategies are better compared to each other's. And you're finding that a lot of their time, their heads are down, but they're essentially thinking like billionaires. It's reported by the end of 2015, there's 1,025 licensed stores. 26, I'm sorry. Stores, okay. But is that the only type of store we have?
No. Company offering.
And that's 831.
No.
Wait, how much is 785?
No, there's 482 total China.
Whoa, wait, time out.
That's only
You guys are telling me that there's more licensed stores in China than there are company-operated stores? Yeah. You're sure about that? Yeah. Does that even make sense? Yeah. Why does that make sense, Victoria?
I don't know, sounds about right.
You think that there's more stores when we're talking about Starbucks, and their number one thing is experience and quality and making sure that everyone experiences this third place, and they're outsourcing more than they're actually building it out themselves? I want you guys to really quickly, or unless you've noticed something.
So I noticed that the title and the actual graphs are kind of flipped.
Aha.
So the number of company operated stores is 1,026, and the number of licensed stores is 785.
They spend weeks studying the case in the hopes of coming into session ready to argue for why their proposal, why their argument is sound, diving deep into information that's not even complete. This is not your typical case study. It's 2016, right? In China. What's happening culturally in China too? Is the economy going up or down? What's popping up? What's the big thing in China in 2016? Is it video streaming? Is it esports, right? Is it coffee culture? I don't know what it is, but you guys need to kind of tell me how we can strategize with those facets in mind as well?
I feel like before TKS, I was an observer. And then as I go through the program, I feel like I'm going more to the chair of the doer. It was a short amount of time, and I was still able to deliver a good pitch. And being able to talk to this many people was really something that I was very proud of.
There was also some information about how much we're selling our coffee for in Starbucks. Does anyone have that number? 20? Okay, let's stop for a second. $27 for a cup of coffee per capita, adjusted rate. What does that mean, though? What does that mean, actually?
Is it actually $27?
No, that means that basically they take the relative price of like how much a coffee costs compared to the average like per capita income, so how much people are earning. And in China, that will be around $27.
Of course, data is always imperfect. There's never going to be a perfect data set. So my group and I definitely had to push through some challenges. I felt genuinely proud when we ended up coming up with a really great recommendation. And most of all, I was really proud of how we came together as a group and collaborated and communicated. And I really felt connected to my friends and peers.
So it's pretty much like if we spent that kind of money, it would be 27 bones, right? Now, keep in mind that that's an insane price regardless, right? You're taking $27 worth of my paycheck potentially for one cup of coffee as compared to, I don't really drink coffee, but what is it, like $5, $6
Sir.
in West Indies, right? So why are people willing to freaking buy a cup of coffee for what seems like it's $27? Really great experience for them to really feel like they're solving, not just, observing problems and thinking in the bystander standpoint, but what is it like to really compete in businesses and really make tough decisions and where they head towards. Someone literally look it up. What's operating margin actually mean? If I sell my Starbucks coffee for $10, do I get that $10 fully? No. Why not? Why not, Alexander?
It's because there's a lot of operating costs involved in making that coffee.
Okay, so what are the examples?
Examples are like labor, the coffee beans, like the ingredients. You also need to pay for like the land that the coffee is made on, like kind of like where the store is.
If there's ever a thought that like enters your brain and you're like, yo, what if that exists? Join TKS and I promise you, you will create it and there's nothing stopping you from that.
Let's make sure the next generation of innovators, entrepreneurs, doctors, lawyers don't get left behind.
If you talk to any of the directors, you know I'm crazy about TKS. And the directors, the mentors, they push you to be the best version of yourself. And I've definitely seen that in me.
When they're really entering this almost like Thunderdome-like experience where they've prepared for weeks and analyzed the case and have come to decisions already, but are ready to defend their case, it's incredible what they come up with at their age. This is diving really deep into how to make the best decision as a business person so that your trade-offs are just trade-offs because you're going to be winning when it comes to growth and scale and profit.